What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Six Spokes Studios. On today's podcast episode, we're going to be talking about something that I've been thinking about for a while. Why do people buy cars, build them, spend thousands of dollars on them just to end up parting out or selling them later on? You're not going to want to miss out on this episode today. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and let's get started. All right, guys, so hopefully you guys are having a good Wednesday. Like I said, for today's topic, I want to talk about why people put thousands of dollars into these cars, knowing that later on they're going to end up selling them or parting out. Because personally, I've done something similar. I mean, when I had my Accord, I put thousands of dollars into this car. I put countless hours into it. And at the end of the day, I kind of had a feeling in the back of my head. I knew that as much as I told myself that I was going to keep this car forever, I realistically didn't want to. And, it's been on my mind, and I think it's a good topic to talk about because I've consistently seen it on Instagram as well. I still go on Instagram and look at all these people's builds, and I've seen tons of them. I mean, tons of them that are like these killer builds. And later on, I see like they're parting out. They sold the car. They no longer have it. And I want to know the reasoning why. So I actually went ahead and reached out to a couple of buddies of mine that have done the same thing that I have, put thousands of dollars into their cars, and next thing you know, they just don't have them anymore. But before I tell you guys their stories, I'm going to tell you a little bit about mine. So as you guys know, I drove a 2004 Honda Accord. I mean, I completely love that car. I can't even tell you how many times that car made me just go from, having really bad days to really happy days because of the things that it was able to put me through. As you guys know, I was able to build an entire YouTube channel off of it. I was able to build an entire social media page off of it. And I made tons of memories with friends, with acquaintance. And overall, it was just a really positive experience that I had with that car. But even though I had all these positive experiences, at the end of the day, for some reason, I always kind of knew at the back of my head that this wasn't going to be a car that I was going to keep forever. Even though I told myself, countless amount of times, like, dude, I'm never going to sell this car. I'm always going to keep it. And at the end of the day, I kind of had a feeling the older I got that just was going into a different stage in my life. I mean, being at 18, 19, 20, being that young of an age, you just don't really have many worries in the world. Whereas now I'm going on to 25 in less than a month, and my life has completely changed, and my views on this world have completely changed. My, standards in life have completely changed. And at the end of the day, all I really want in life is things just to work. I rather choose comfortability over, the staticky ride that car gave me, even though it looked badass being slammed to the ground. But let me tell you, driving a car that is slammed to the ground is not as fun as it looks. I had to create different routes to get to work. I had to create different routes to get to school. I had to avoid certain places that I couldn't no longer go because the car would not make it over speed bumps. The car would not make it over, certain sidewalks. And there were ways I can fix that, which I did. I ended up raising the car over time, but it just was not a smooth ride. I was riding on, thin tires. It was like 215s, I believe. What is it, like 215s, 35, 18s, I think, if I can remember correctly. And I eventually did actually go a tire size up, but I was having a lot of issues going different tire sizes because now I'm running into rubbing issues. Now I'm running into camber issues, and it was just giving me a big headache. And at the end of the day, like I said, I rather have comfortability over all these other problems that the car was giving me, even though like I said, I love that car. And if I can get it back, and if I had the money to have it back, I think I would, but I no longer would be daily driving that car. That car would be a car that I would just drive like maybe once a week, once a month. And a good example of that is even my cousin Pearl Panda. As you guys know, he has that 2010, it's an 8th generation Honda Accord. Thing is badass. I mean, he's on airbags. I was on coilovers. He has on 19-inch. I was on 18-inch rims. And, even for him, he still has his car, but he actually doesn't drive it anymore. For the longest time, it was just parked in the garage. Now he drives a 2021 Toyota Tacoma because it's more reliable. It's something that's more comfortable for him. Same thing for me. Now I drive a 2018 Subaru Crosstrek because if you guys have never driven one, it's one of the most comfortable cars I've ridden in. It's not fast. It's not anything cool by whatever means. But it is something that I know that I can just drive and take off to Wyoming like I did earlier this year and not have to worry about, tires, not have to worry about something breaking down on the road. Because even with that, it was an older car, 2004 versus 2018. Things are bound to break in that car. And the last year that I had it, I was consistently getting blown out tires because, they're just the roads in California suck and something would happen. I was running into, kind of older car things breaking, I guess is the best way to put it. The last thing I remember that happened to that car was I had the timing belt break, even though I had it replaced it like a year or two earlier. And it was just causing too many issues. And like I said, at the end of the day, things change in life, and I was changing as a person. And as much fun as that car gave me, I'll never forget all the memories we built with it. I'll never forget the channel that I built with it. I'm still gonna keep the social media running with it, and it's just something that I had to give up, and it's something that I've noticed with other people too. Like when I go ahead and read some of the comments that some of the homies said about why they sold and part out their cars, you guys are kind of see a trend. And like I said, for all the younger generation, it's something to have fun with. And if you can do it, then great. Then more power to you. But at the end of the day, I feel like people are eventually going to change. And it's not going to be something you're not going to want to drive it every single day. As cool as it looks, it's not worth it. So if you guys were into the Accord community, this guy that I actually reached out to, he was originally known as Mugen Rick. Now he just goes by his name Ricardo. And I'll link his Instagram down below just so you guys can check him out. But I asked him, I told him like, hey Rick, hope you're doing well. I'm making a video. I was wondering if I can get your input on it. I'm talking about why people build these dope cars and then get rid of them. If you had to say your main reason for selling your Accord was, what would it be? And his response to that was, the only reason I did and was because at the time I was working a physical job. He was working 12 to 14-hour days, sweating his ass off, and he was having constant back pain because if you guys don't know, if you guys have never driven a low car, having to consistently bend all the way down just to get into the car is not fun. It feels like you're squatting every single time. And I feel his pain about having back pain because, like I said, driving that car is not the most comfortable experience. He also said that he was a big, tall person and it just didn't make any sense for him to be driving that car. Being low and static started making him feel uncomfortable. Definitely felt him on that one. And he actually had an LX model, so the interior he said was crap. It had no power, and it was just too small for his size. And he decided that he was gonna part out and get something bigger within his budget. He ended up selling the Accord as well, and now he's actually rocking with a Lexus LS 430. It's basically a big boat. Car looks comfy as hell though. He says that now it has all the features: OEM air suspension, very spacious, clean black interior, and he has no complaints about it, and it's a smooth ass ride, which I totally feel him on that one. Having a car that's comfortable, being able to get in and being able to drive long distances, because if you guys don't know, he's actually also a truck driver, I believe now, so he has to drive hella far. And when you drive long distances in the Accord, it's not fun. Whereas if you drive long distances in something that's comfy, you just don't feel it. When I drove to Wyoming in the Subaru, I just honestly, it just didn't even feel like we drove 23 hours. If I remember when I drove the Accord to Utah, that was a nightmare because it just, at the end of the day, you were getting out of the car and you were just like consistently trying to crack your back, and it was not fun. Another homie that I actually also reached out to, his name is Jason. I don't remember what he used to go by, but he had the sickest Accord, and he actually ended up going from gold to green. I asked him his main reason for selling the Accord was, and for him is he said he wanted something more modern, more reliable. The car was getting old and it was burning like crazy, and he was having to put quarts of oil a week. Same thing, he loved that car and it made him sad to let it go, but it made him some good money back because he ended up partying out with that car as well. So same thing. And like I said, it's just something that I was seeing more of a trend where people are starting to choose comfortability, more modern versus having something that was just going to, not be as fun driving. And don't get me wrong. I mean, if you have another car that you can daily drive, then more than likely you probably won't end up selling your car. But for people like us where, that's our main cars that we drive every day, it was just no longer fun. I remember driving that car every day on the freeway. It would take me 30 minutes to get to work, and it was just a straight shot. I mean, I drove literally down from my exit straight down to where I used to work. It was right off the freeway, and it was just like bumpy. I felt everything. I could hear the road. I consistently had to watch out for potholes. I consistently had to watch out for anything on the freeway because I didn't want to, break the front lip or something. Whereas now in the Subaru, with 8-inch clearances on the bottom, I no longer have to worry about anything. I can literally just hit cruise control, not have to worry about anything, not have to worry about hitting anything, breaking anything, make it from point A to point B. Super, not the fastest because it's unfortunately not the fastest car in the world, but I know it's going to make it there. I know I'm going to be comfortable driving in it. Another thing too that I can argue about the, me having to sell the car is it was putting a strain on my budget. Obviously I don't live at home anymore. I have to pay rent. I have to pay this, I have to pay that. I don't have the luxury anymore having the budget that I once had when I used to live at home, and all the money that I would make at work would go straight to my car. Now I actually have to kind of budget myself, and that car was costing me a lot of money. I mean, every couple months I was having to flip tires. Every couple months I was having to replace a tire. Every couple months something tiny would break that would cost a headache. And unfortunately, like I said, I just no longer think I would have the budget anymore. Now I'm in a better position, luckily, where I think if I had the car, I would be able to not worry about having to consistently fix something. But unfortunately no longer have a car, so it's not really an issue for me anymore. At the end of the day, hopefully you guys never find yourself in that situation, but if you did, those are going to be some of the things you're going to encounter, and those are going to be some of the things you're going to have to talk to yourself about. And it's just different points in life that you're going to go through. But like I said, those are some of the things that I started to see more of. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Or even if you were in my position now, what was your reason for selling the car, or what would you be your reasoning why you would never sell your car? Like, or even people like my cousin Pro Panda, he's in a better position than I am now, where he was able to keep his car and get himself another car that he can daily drive. And whenever he feels like he wants to, messes that car, he just goes back in his garage and takes it out. But even him, like I said, he doesn't drive it as often. But yeah, guys, that's something that I wanted to talk about and hopefully open up a discussion down below to get your guys' opinion, your guys' thoughts. Did I make a mistake selling that car? Like I said, luckily for me, even though I sold it, my dad has an L, and I kind of, whenever I feel like I'm in the mood, I kind of just go back to his house and just pick it up. Like I did this weekend, actually. I was hanging out with him on, what was it, like Friday or Saturday, I remember. And on my way home, instead of taking my car, I told him like, hey, let's trade cars, And for him, he doesn't even think twice about it. He just gives me the keys. I left my car there, and I brought that car home for like 2 days, drove it around, got my joy out of it, and took it back home. But even for him, he loves it. He drives that car every single day to work. So you guys would probably see him if you live in SoCal. He's driving every morning at like 4:30 in the morning. Drives it every day back home at like 5 or 6 whenever he gets off of work. And he loves it. But even then, I've actually talked to him about it, and even he kind of has a thought that he wants to sell the car too, only because he actually wants to get a newer car. He wants to get I believe he actually wants to get one of the newer Camrys, because he loves how the Camrys look with the black top. He loves the red interior in the new Camrys. So he actually might sell the car too. So if you guys are interested, hit me up down below, hit me up on Instagram. Possibly might be selling the car. We're not too sure yet. But like I said, more modern reliability is the way to go for me personally. I don't know about you guys. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's podcast episode. I had a lot of fun making it. I had a lot of fun, bringing old memories back up and talking to some of the homies about the builds. RIP to all those that have sold their car, parted out. It's a memory that you're always going to have and you're never going to forget. But at the end of the day, you have to make choices based on your lifestyle. And my lifestyle right now and the way I'm living life, I had to let it go, guys. It just wasn't something I could keep, unfortunately. Also, let me know what you guys think of this new setup. This is actually my desk setup. Maybe one day I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour. I have my homeboy G-Eazy on my left and the homie Logic on the right. I also have this pretty badass picture up here of the Accord that my friend actually gave me for my birthday or Christmas. I don't remember. It's actually a metal painting, believe it or not. Pretty badass. I don't know how he got his hands on it. But shout out to him, because shout out to my homie Jared, because that is one of the coolest things I've ever gotten. And then I also have my desk set up in the background. I have my monitor for my MacBook. I have my other monitor for my my PlayStation, and then I have all my console controllers set up there. I have a shelf for all my camera stuff over there as well, but I sometimes like to keep my other camera here just because it kind of looks badass. And then just a couple of other lighting stuff here and there. So yeah, I'll give you guys a tour one day of it, but let me know what you guys think of it. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your week. I'm going to try to post another podcast episode this upcoming Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. I'm also hanging out with the homie from Lewis pretty soon, so we'll see if we're able to record a video on that as well. Thanks you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.